Scripture reading. Screeding? Also, this verse has absolutely nothing to do with Lincoln. He isn't even the father of this nation. Abraham Lincoln is the father of exactly 0 nations.
History prefers legends to men.
Lincoln narration. Jesus, this White House looks even faker than the real one. Wait.
This record that begins when I was just a boy.
Technically, the letter says a record that begins on the day it first grabbed hold of me, when I was just a boy. If you're going to subject us to a good old-fashioned letter narrating, at least do it accurately.
Will!
Young Lincoln will now rush to the defense of his young friend, because if there's one historical character that needs his white savior bona fides explained, it's gotta be this one.
All right, Mr. Lincoln. There are other ways to collect the debt.
By that, I mean something involving your wife. You may not have understood this because the message delivered by my sunglasses is very hard to see. 7 years ago, our horror fathers brought upon this continent a jump scare, and they haven't stopped since, and I'm bored with them.
The present day is here.
Wow, 6 minutes into this movie, I've got to say, I'm really...
Mother.
Wait a minute, Abraham Lincoln's mother dies? Jeez, movie, spoiler alert.
A boy only gets this drunk when he wants to kiss a girl. Or kill a man.
Lies! Sometimes a boy gets this drunk when he has to watch a movie where a vampire empire fights Lincolnhams. As I say!
You weren't asleep that night, were you?
Well, I thought that was painfully obvious before, but I could be overestimating the size of Abraham's peeping cranny. Like, in real life, this could just be a tiny gap. But in movie world, you made it look like a huge space that a whole head could fit through. Man, discount young Liam Neeson killed the out of that guy. That lady's scream was pretty blood-curdling for it to be sex, but nevertheless, this is the woman sounds like she's being terminated, but she's actually being penetrated cliché.
Who I am is Henry Sturgis. Where you are is my home.
And what is happening is called exposition, and why I'm doing it is for the audience, and when it's over, 5 more minutes will have passed. Also, I don't know why Henry is in such a goddamn hurry to get out of here, since he was just sexing up a prostitute a minute ago and would have continued if it weren't for honest cock-blocking Abe's interruption. And while he gets ready to go out to do whatever it is he's in such a hurry for, he gives vague details about how he was recruiting Abraham Lincoln for some dumb reason and drops the bomb that vampires exist, and this scene is annoying as Stop for a second and calmly explain what the hell is going on.
I haven't had the best of luck with shooting irons. But, I was a rail splitter.
Good thing you had this door open with a clear view of an axe on a chopping block. It really made it easy and dramatic to tell you what kind of weapon I prefer.
I'd like you to chop this tree down with a single swing.
It's gotta be more than a foot across, that's impossible.
Honest Abe would be excellent at CinemaSins.
And that you let her die.
Movie suggests that if you're just super angry, you can build up enough strength to chop down a tree in one swing. I see that this movie's credited hate strength trainer was Mr. Furious from Mystery Men.
Power, Lincoln. Real power comes not from hate, but from truth.
That's amazing. Just the other day I was thinking to myself, gravity is the natural relationship between space and matter. Space instructs matter how to move, and matter directs space how to curve. Then I turned and crushed a mountain with my bare hands. And when I flew back from Nepal, I was the one pushing the plane.
Before you protect others from darkness, you must first be able to protect yourself.
That's exactly what the inventor of condoms said.
You must have the ability to fight blind. To see without seeing.
Normally, I'd pull out the Marksman H combat remote from a movie called Star Wars. You don't know what a movie is, and you definitely don't know what Star Wars is, and that's why you fail. So Abe's superpowers are now chopping down trees, fighting in the dark, and being a top-notch majorette? Cool. Henry throws this axe with topspin, and then it miraculously turns on its side, so Abe can catch it mid-air. And sure, that's stupid impossible. But what I'm more concerned about is how many times did they practice this and Abe got an axe blade wedged in his penis.
Henry endeavored to impart a lifetime of vampire hunting secrets, their ability to adapt to sunlight, the power to render themselves invisible, but most of all, he taught me how to destroy them.
Not only did Henry teach him vampire secrets, but superpowers. He gave you superpowers somehow. The ridiculous things humans do in this movie basically make this the Fast and Furious of presidential vampire movies.
When Judas betrayed Jesus, his reward was 30 pieces of silver. At that moment, those pieces became a symbol of betraying God, of evil. And silver became a curse upon the cursed.
Good God, the logic! Logic! Like the rapper Logic, who was born Robert Bryson Hall the second. Second! As in, the second I'm done with this paragraph of logical fallacy, I'm going to smoke a joint. Joint! As in, I'm going to smoke a joint.
Nor see them reflected in mirrors. The one thing God placed beyond the reach of a vampire.
Okay, vampires are evil, said God. What can I do that will make them curse the ground on which they stand? Ooh, I know. I can make it so they can't see themselves in mirrors.
Vedoma. a ruthless enforcer, and her brother.
Making someone sit through your slideshow.
Vampires had been in the New World for centuries, slaughtering native tribes and early settlers.
Why does Henry have random pictures of the people vampires attacked, and not pictures or renderings of the attacks themselves?
Anyone in this well-mannered city might very well be one of them.
Yeah, but with a small pocket mirror, it would be pretty easy to figure out who was who, right? Seriously, just wear one of those bike helmets with the rear view mirrors attached. Boom, solved.
I ever see you here again, I will have your balls as a coin purse!
Mistaking the balls for the scrotum. Also, this asshole, who unsurprisingly sells lots of apples, just happens to fire one of his workers just in time for Abe to luck out on a job in a room.
Dear Henry, life in Springfield is less than desirous.
I believe you mean desirable. Desirous is the quality of the person doing the desiring. Desirable is the quality of the thing being desired. You can remember by repeating the rhyme I learned in Sunday school. When I'm tone and swole, I'm desirable. But for Miss Cyrus, I'm desirous.
I'm Abraham. Lincoln.
Mary Todd.
Good God, this prequel to the Honest Abe trilogy seems entirely geared for the fans. Cheer, you bastards! This is Mary Todd before she was a cyborg.
Stephen Douglas, how do you do?
Sure, they were huge rivals. So, of course, Stephen Douglas and Mary Todd were boning at the time she met Lincoln.
Dear Abe, your prescription awaits you at the local pharmacy.
Actually, this letter starts out with some conversation on how long the winter is and some problems with a leaky roof. So now I have no idea if this movie is even historically accurate anymore. Oh, good thing Abe stood on that exact spot on the floor. Huh? And yeah, apparently the vampire pharmacist has these trapdoors set up everywhere, considering the high volume of people hanging in his basement. But it still means Abe found the one spot in the store that had a trapdoor and an available hook.
I had killed a monster, and I would kill again.
Yep, that's pretty much the movie. Abraham Lincoln killing vampires. It's right there in the title. Beyond that, pretty much nothing. Hope that idea is enough to carry you through 100 minutes of this. How in the hell does Abraham keep finding these people during closing hours working by themselves? He seems to encounter no locked doors, either. Earlier, Henry trained Abraham to fight invisible vampires by closing him in a room in total darkness. If Abe was ever in total darkness fighting a vampire, what good would this do?
I have killed 6 vampires.
My goodness.
I see Abraham Lincoln went to the Grosse Pointe Blank School of Honesty.
Oh, I had a wonderful day, Abe.
As did I, Mary.
This movie alternates between irreverent and gruesome vampire-killing horror movie and earnest and romantic period piece, and I'm not saying you can't love both those things, I'm just saying people usually don't. A stovepipe hat would never hold the weight of a full-grown human, even a Mary Elizabeth Winstead-sized one. Were 19th century newspapers in the habit of printing the same story right next to itself? Because this text is clearly the same as this text. Also, how did Ralph Edwards even find them? Old Pennyface said he buried them in different places and had hidden them away. I guess he could have found one, but all 6? At the same time?
I heard a good woman once say, until all men are free, we're all slaves.
This Falcon flashback is unnecessary. We get it. He's the same kid Linky Boy stood up for earlier. You don't have to force it down our throats. It's like the old saying goes. Show, don't, overshow.
Well, I think common-looking people are the best in the world.
Little do people know, but Mary Todd Lincoln was the inspiration for Pulp's most popular song. It is impossible for Abe not to get trampled in this case. This is a never-ending sea of horses. Even as he dodges them, he should be running right into the other horses. By the way, how many f***ing horses are there? I'll grant you, this is a giant swath of horses here, but it's not a big enough team for an interminable stampede. This movie has officially hit a level of combined green screen and CGI nonsense mixed with shaky camera work and spaghettiing that it's pretty much intolerable. Horsing around. Also, did Abe just end up riding the horse that was thrown at him? So Bart grabs a charging couple thousand-pound horse by one leg, swings it around, and launches a direct strike on Link, and neither he nor the horse are injured in the slightest?
Catch me if you can, boy!
You'd think a chase running over stampeding horses would be exciting, but the unreality of it all is hard to ignore. Sure, you wouldn't try and do this as a real stunt in a movie because it's goddamn impossible, but if you can't make it look good by cheating, then maybe you shouldn't do it at all. Also, this reminds me, a movie called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter seems ripe to be a ridiculous comedy, like Airplane or Naked Gun, but for the most part, this is a typical action movie that doesn't even need to have Abraham Lincoln in it. I think this is my main issue with the whole thing. It's an absurd premise with a story that doesn't match. Sure, I have issues with this axe gun, but my main problem is that it feels like it's only an axe gun because they wanted to do this one scene. What the f*** is Abe showing up in the alley for? For this entire movie, Henry's been telling him where he needs to go. He has no real hunting skills, and there's no reason for him to be here right now. So how does he go into another town and just stumble on this shit? Also, surprise, surprise, Henry's a vampire. So, let's review, shall we? Back at Henry's house, he showed up in the reflection here, and then later in the scene here. If you're going to say something about these not being mirrors because mirrors are made of silver, windows aren't, or some technical bullcrap, then you've got some nerve. Why would the rule not include other reflective surfaces? Why would you ever make yourself visible in this case? Do your punches not count if you're invisible? Somewhere in an internet cafe in Winterfell, Arya Stark just found an idea on an ALVH Reddit thread that might just save her family's kingdom.
Her soul is pure, but yours, Henry?
Wait, so is the movie saying that if a vampire bites you and you have a pure soul, you die, but if not, you turn within seconds? How is the entire world not vampires within a month?
It's one of God's little tricks. Vampires cannot kill their own kind.
You say God, I say screenwriters looking to create some forced narrative tension. Tomato, tomato. Records show that Abraham Lincoln banged Mary Todd in that grocery store while Joshua Speed watched. It was an epic presidential banging. Even the mice and the floorboards were impressed.
Well, you know what they say, cold hands, warm heart.
Misquoting Friday Night Lights. Wait, why would Bart's have the pocket watch that Henry gave Abe in his hand? It would sort of make sense if we saw Abe lose it during that ridiculous stampede and fall off a cliff scene somewhere. But it's never shown that Abe loses it, and it's not in Bart's hand or anywhere near his body. Plus, it has the names A. Lincoln and Henry on it, so why would the mortician give it to him? Why wouldn't a policeman be asking Abe or Henry why the his watch was on his person? This is Will Smith gives Jason Lee his business card in Enemy of the State levels of convenience for the villain, only way more sinful.
You and me, Abraham, together we can accomplish anything.
Now, let's eat our pre-battle carrots. Yes, because what makes the most sense for maximum chance at killing him is two vampires camouflaging into a painting and then jumping down, giving him a full opportunity to prepare. That's totally a logical tactical choice. He threw his hat at that vampire. He threw his hat! These invisible vampires keep turning visible at weird times. Abe doesn't even have to use his pocket full of particles to fight them. They just appear because they're the dumbest motherfuckers ever. There's a lot of vampires here ready to kill him, but good thing for height-enhanced Gimli. One-at-a-time-itis has apparently infected the entire vampire population. Good lord, how do you make horses want to crash through a goddamn house? Also, in a movie basically built upon the This Works cornerstone, this moment seems so utterly ridiculous that I cannot help but utter once again the words many have been longing to hear. This works!
Miss Tubman. We've been waiting for you.
This movie is like the Forrest Gump of presidential vampire movies. They ran into Harriet Tubman during this thing? Who's next? Baby Thomas Edison? Oh yeah, that bell ringing obviously means that the people she's looking for are up there. No doubt about it. Anyway, none of this matters or comes back again, so f*** it.
There's a war coming. A war for the soul of the country.
Is it like the war for the tone of this movie? Because including deep and traumatic themes of racial injustice in the same movie where a vampire throws a horse at a man before they both play hopscotch on top of a rushing stampede is a choice.
I would fight not with an axe, but with words and ideals.
That's exactly what people buying tickets to Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter were hoping to see. This movie skips through time like it's from a San Dimas Circle K, which would be fine for Abe. Except, what are the vampires doing? Just waiting around doesn't seem a likely choice when you clearly want to end him. And it's not like he's in hiding.
While trying to be the father to a boy, not much older than I was when I lost my mother.
Wait, you're saying this kid is older than this kid? Look, I had to do some research on the actors here because I thought I was out of my mind. Abraham Lincoln's kid here is about 8 years old. This kid is about 10 or 11 back in 2012. I know this because apparently he won some sort of writing award in 2019 and was a fifth-year senior at a college prep school. Anyway, it doesn't matter if the movie says this kid is supposed to be the older one. He doesn't look it and definitely isn't.
Willie? Willie?
Kissing another man's willy without permission. I've been letting a lot of anachronisms go because I'm aware that this isn't a historical document. For one, we all know vampires didn't truly become an issue in America until well into the 20th century. But if you're going to shoot a scene at the Capitol, maybe don't choose an angle that shows the recessed electric lighting in the ceiling.
Abe, Mary's calling for you.
I have no idea why I brought this blanket out here to comfort you, if I was just going to tell you to go back inside, but it seemed like the cool thing to do. Blankets make everything all better, so I hear.
After you lied to me for all these years?
This level of distrust between Mary Todd and Abe has never been a plot point until this very moment, when she suddenly revealed that she has read his vampire diaries. This comes out of nowhere.
We are now outnumbered and ill-equipped compared to the North.
And, of course, the South is conspiring with actual vampires in the Civil War because nuance, you are not welcome here. Symbolism. One thing I have to say for this movie is that they spent close to $100 million to make it, and they clearly put that money on the screen. But also, they spent close to $100 million on this movie. In a split second, these vamps took out an entire Union battalion, but yeah, tall guy with an axe is a tough get. Also, these vampires turn invisible and stay that way, and lo and behold, they succeeded for once. Also, I don't know why they killed everybody except the guy we were focused on, and attacked the guy next to him in such a way that it took him longer to die, while everyone else insta-died and collapsed. Yes, the table is long, but it only grew that way after it sensed the emotional distance between Mary Todd and Abe. They just don't build dramatic tension tables like they used to.
Our bullets are useless, our bayonets are as powerless as this fork.
They're going to eat the vampires, aren't they? I knew this was going to get good. Also, Abe has his Dr. House moment here, but honestly, as soon as he heard that the Confederate army was not susceptible to bullets, wouldn't vampires and silver have come immediately to mind?
This is what we need.
I just played this game called Final Fantasy IV, where a spoon did all the damage. Just think what a fork could do. Does it appear to anyone else that Lincoln has instructed his troops to steal people's silver? Because I think this movie is saying Lincoln instructed his troops to steal people's silver.
I need you, Mary.
Presidential skip!
What's this?
So wait, Harriet Tubman is sneaking Mary Lincoln through the secret place that she's navigated undetected several times, and they just happen to run into the movie's chief antagonists. This is approximately the 57th time the movie has pulled the scary vampire face appears through a haze trick. And honestly, this movie isn't worth the time it takes to line them up bonus round style, so I'll just add the 57 sins and you can hum the Mario theme to yourself while it happens. Did I miss the Will Johnson axe training montage? When did he become such a lumberjack of all trades? Did you enjoy the stampede scene with all the CGI and green screen and smoke? Well, you're sure to love more of the same thing, this time on top of a train. How did Adam snap the axe in half when it's got a gun barrel inside it?
Emancipate yourselves.
Oh, f*** you, movie. So, this turns out to be Henry's arm that Adam bit into, but if God has ordained that vampires can't attack other vampires, and there's a mystical barrier preventing it, then how is this even possible? Okay, so maybe it's kill and not attack, but to me, this is a clear violation of that rule. How does this power discern what's a kill attack and what's not? Seems like you could have just done this and not even bothered with a train attack.
Why did you lie to me?
To get you all in one place. To finish you.
And even though it worked, it's kind of a stupid plan. You have to hope that Adam sends, like, everybody, including himself, to attack this train. Meanwhile, the vampires had a plan to make the train fall in the river anyway, which made the attack unnecessary. No. Here's another thing this asshole could have done besides attacking the train with his entire army. The last time we saw Henry, Adam kicked him and knocked him out, somehow, even though he's a super strong vampire. Anyway, he was on this car that fell and launched itself in the middle of the bridge, where we saw him briefly as it crashed. But since the entire railroad track and the support beams underneath were getting wiped out, there's no way Henry made that trip to save the day without us seeing him run there, because he sure as shit didn't get there using the remaining train cars.
If the train was a decoy, where is the silver?
This isn't the only railroad.
And that's why even to this day, it's still known as the Silver War. I mean, why is she even here? She was helping out with the decoy train earlier, so why would she think anything was going on at this place? Is it so Mary Todd can have her action moment? Oh my fucking God. So not only was Abraham Lincoln's personal fork not melted down with the other silver to make weapons, but it was fired in battle somehow? Seriously, what the fuck?
Mary, darling, have you seen my hat?
On your desk in the office.
You see my hat?
Mary tells this asshole his hat is on the desk in the office, and it sure is, but he doesn't even look in the direction of the desk, and he even asks Henry where it is. Luckily for Henry, this bar doesn't employ the mirrors you see at most big bars like this, so nobody can ever see that his reflection isn't there.
A guy only gets that drunk when he wants to kiss a girl or kill a man.
Oh, movie is setting up for a modern-day sequel. Sequel.
The man situated is classified as a Russian Akula-class hunter-killer.
Alright, you can stop sending us concerned messages that TVSins stole our idea. TVSins is in fact our other channel where we sin, you guessed it, TV shows. Search for TVSins and find one of your favorite shows. Then, enjoy us sinning the shit out of it.
Look away, Abraham. It's not our place. Look away.
Oh, look away! Megan, no! Look away!
You must have the ability to fight blind. To see without seeing.
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
We had a serious problem with Billy Bats. This was really a touchy thing. Tommy had killed a made guy. To hell with work. We got invited to a ball.
A ball?
You really want to know the truth, Mary?
What do you want? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
I'm the guy with the plan, because I'm smart as
I'd heard his voice on the tape, and it really put the hook in me. But I couldn't connect up that voice.
I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass 2 years.
And my axe.
I've been in every room. There is nothing. Nothing. There is no hunk.
I